I thought it was cool. Hi everybody, my name is Kimberly Zoller, and what you just saw was what I think is a representation of what I think entrepreneurship is. Let me explain. The wine glass represents the world, the thing that contains us and everything we know. The liquid within the glass, which is bubble soap, symbolizes the vast sea of opportunity within the world, and the bubble wine, which today I guess is fancy for PVC pipe that I found in my garage, represents the means of supplying opportunity for others. Finally, the bubbles are the opportunities that we all desire. However, like opportunities, some linger for a while others dissipate rather quickly. And it's up to us whether or not we reach out and take those opportunities. It's poetic, right? I know. I have been performing magic ever since the age of 12, and over the years I've performed locally around Delmarva, in Ocean City, Maryland, and here in my hometown, Seaford. I've actually performed here at Del Tech one time in their little talent show, which was always fun. I have performed in New York City and 3 times in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the ages of 15, 17, and currently 18. My life's goal is to become a major headlining magician on the Las Vegas Strip, not only for myself, like my benefit, but to support my mother, who has selflessly supported me along the way. But for now, I'm looking to reach my short-term goals, which are to open my own home theater, because at my house we have a full floor basement, which spans the entire house. So it's big enough and roomy enough to hold that many people, and to book at least 2 shows a week at other venues. My plans to accomplish these goals include setting up a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe, if you're familiar with those websites, to bring in some of the necessary funds to renovate my home into a theater to house at least 75 audience members, and to fit my interior design standards, lighting and sound, and other theater needs. For my second goal, I plan to create at least 3 different business cards to fit my different performances. I'm more than one person. I have many different personalities depending on what venue I'm performing. For example, if I'm performing at, say, a birthday show for like a little girl or a little boy, I'm very colorful, hence the hair. I'm very colorful. I'm very much so like a clown. I do balloon animals, face painting. I can sometimes provide like outfits for like little girls where they can dress up as and walk on the red carpet, because moms always think that's fun. And Star Wars stuff for the boys, because Star Wars is awesome. However, if I'm performing for an all-adult audience, and I know that it's an all-adult audience, I dress mostly in black, and my personality is more serious and less exuberant. Is that a fitting word? Kaleidoscopic. I'm trying to use big words. The list goes on, but those are the most 2 common types of performance styles that I'm hired for. And finally, I would like to find different ways to advertise myself, whether that means doing more free shows for the public or other. Flip the page. It did not print out the 3rd page. Or any other means of getting out there, like this. Let me show you my Facebook page right here. I would have shown you my website, but however, I had lost my domain for my website, which I also want some help on how to design my own website and keep my website. And so I mainly run off Facebook because everybody nowadays is on Facebook. It's on our phones, it's on our TVs, it's on our computers. Facebook is really good at getting something out there and having people notice it. You can see right here where I put 1 million cups. Yeah. Yeah, I just like to get out there, do more advertising, and just at least have 2 shows a week, and maybe at the end of, I want to say like March of 2016, I want to open up the doors to my home theater to not just go to the customers, but have them come to me as well and give them a good live theater performance, which I think is what this world needs more of, in my opinion. So, I'm open to questions.
Thank you. So nice to have somebody serious but still colorful about their business. That's great. That's great. Now we're going to open up the floor for questions, answers, and comments. Who would like to go first?
Sure.
Mr. South, because he's...
Anyone that's headlined out in Las Vegas, I mean to tell you, I feel honored being here in front of you this morning. So just an idea that I had was, we have a large retirement community in Lewis, Delaware called Cadbury. Have you ever performed at Cadbury? It's a large retirement community, and I would think that would be a great venue for you, and they would be very appreciative, I know that.
Okay.
How long have you been at this?
I have been doing magic ever since I was 12, and I am currently 18.
And in this home theater that you're, give us a little bit more idea about what you're doing with your home theater.
Well, me and my mother, who are the main fixer-uppers, if you will, of the house, we have plenty of friends that do what are called house concerts, where they bring in bands to their homes, where they have a large enough space to fit not only the band, but people. And we saw that, and we're like, hey, why don't we open up the basement, because it's big enough for magic shows and everything, because I also have friends that do shows and who go on tours, so we could give them a venue here and also bring magic to where it's needed, really.
Okay, and the other idea is the economics of all this. How are you going to structure your pricing for these various venues? And obviously, I guess length of performance is a determinant as far as cost?
Are you asking how am I going to price the theater and when I go out to do other venues?
Yeah, how do you price the performance that you're going to present?
Well, if it's a birthday show, I give many different options to parents. I will, my main price is $300 because I include so many other things. I can bring, if upon request, I can bring the cake, I can bring fun activities like face painting and balloon animals, and I do 30 minutes of magic, which is really hard because kids like to get up and run around. And also, depending on how far I'm traveling, they're paying for, of course, my transportation to get there. But I think compared to a lot of other local magicians around here, they usually charge around $300 for just 30 minutes of magic, while I include more. Concerning the pricing of the theater, I'm not entirely sure of that. I know I want to open the theater, but I think pricing should wait a little bit on the list until I'm actually sure I can get this thing going.
And that was $200 for 30 minutes? Is that what you said? How?
Yeah, other magicians like to charge $300 for just 30 minutes of just a magic show, and then they leave. Well, whether I provide balloon animals and cake and face painting and everything else, including magic.
And last but not least, how about insurance? Do you carry insurance?
In what way?
Any type of liability insurance on yourself or others?
No, that shouldn't be a good idea.
I might add to that Kim has just started in the entrepreneurship program, and you will get information on that. Other questions, comments? There we go. Please use the microphone because it is being recorded, and that way we can hear what the questions are.
What are your greatest successes and your biggest challenges thus far?
Thus far, my greatest successes would probably, you're making me choose here, would probably be meeting my inspiration for initially getting into magic, which would be Chris Angel. My friend took me to see his show, and then he invited me on stage and then backstage after the show, which, yes, I cried.
Very cool.
And my biggest, obstacles or roadblocks, was that the?
Challenges, obstacles.
One of my biggest challenges, honestly, is kind of a current challenge, really. It's trying to balance my business while going to college, because it's just so much of a workload from 4 different classes, and you think, oh, 4 classes, that's not that bad compared to a lot of other people, but for me, it's a lot because I don't like school, but I like school at the same time. So balancing college, my business, and I have also an actual job, and sort of maintaining somewhat of a social life. I guess that is currently my biggest challenge, really.
Thank you.
Kim, have you heard of Dickinson Parlor Theater?
I used to work there, yes.
Oh, very good, very good. It features magicians also, and it's a lot of fun, so I'm glad to hear that.
I can see your passion. It's very refreshing to see your passion, you following your passion at such a young age. This young lady sitting next to me, her mother is the head of the activities of the nursing home he was talking about. So you can come see us and we can get a name for you.
So you never know what connections you'll make here. Other questions? Please keep asking questions, because that's one way I can get my exercise.
What recommendations would you have for somebody starting out in a business,
Well, it all depends on what you want to do, really.
like in the entertainment business?
In the entertainment business, don't give up when you first start out, because I had started this business when I was 12 years old, and I had business cards already by the time I was 13, and it can get a little overwhelming, really. So if you're starting out in the entertainment business, I would really suggest that, I don't know, because the entertainment business is just so vast, because you could be a juggler, a magician, an actor, actress. There's everything out there, and just don't get put down by negative feedback, because there will be people that don't like what you do, really. Because there's plenty of people that don't like what I do, but that's all up to interpretation, their opinion. So no matter what you're doing in the entertainment business, just do not be discouraged by the people who don't like you or like your business or what you're doing.
Thank you.
Good morning. I guess my question would be, why magic? What was it that sparked your interest to get in this profession?
I was really hoping someone wouldn't ask me that, but it's fine. I've gotten over it over the years, but when I was 12 years old, my parents were going through the initial stages of a divorce, but that happens. And my dad sort of favored my brother over me because he was the boy, I'm a girl, father-son relationships, that always happens. And I had lost a lot of my friends for some odd reason, and I got insanely depressed at a very young age. And speaking from the heart and being brutally honest here, I wanted to kill myself at the age of 12. And one night I was sitting in the living room, my brother's flipping through the TV channels, and he stops on Chris Angel Mind Freak. And I saw him do this insane stuff, and little 12-year-old me just was like, how is that possible? So the next day I was on YouTube searching him up and everything, and it just distracted me from everything that was wrong in my life, so.
I'd like to follow up on that for just a moment. It's funny how these things happen. Just yesterday, a former student stopped in, and he's working with a member of his family, and their goal is to establish a nonprofit organization to help severely depressed children. And I asked him, I said, is this providing counseling? And he said, no, it's providing other kinds of diversionary activities. And then you say that. So see me afterwards. I'll be happy to see about connecting you.
Okay. Let's see what I
Have you ever thought about becoming a YouTuber, like expanding your business online?
Yes, I've actually just recently started doing what I call Wonder Wednesday weekly vlogs. because that's a cool thing, vlog. I see other people doing it and succeeding, so why not me? I do have a YouTube channel. It is Kimsey Magic, spelled the exact way it's spelled there, Kim space C Magic. You'll see a picture of when I was blonde, so don't look for pink, just look for blonde. I've been doing, other than posting videos of just my performances and myself, I have been doing weekly vlogs, and today I'm interviewing one of my friends who is also a magician. His name is Charles Stonewick, and the topic this week is tips for beginner magicians. So look for that video tonight.
Speaking as a mom, I know if I were your mom, I'd be extremely proud for you to come from where you were at 12 years old to now. It's very impressive, and I hope to see you become this famous person that I can look back on and say, I remember you. Also, I'd like to book you for July. I have a 10-year-old, well, she'll be 10 in July, and I'd love to have you come and do your thing.
Okay.
Have you gone into any like daycares and done some of your magic work for free and then maybe get some parents seeing you and then saying, hey, I'd love for her to come to my child's birthday party?
I have given out some of my business cards to daycares who my friends own, and I haven't really gotten any business from there. And then I was like, hey, why don't I just ask if I could perform at daycares? Or I know some libraries have like a daycare type thing, or a play date, or whatever they want to call it. And I can't remember what name of it that I went to, but I went to a daycare presenting myself like, hey, I'm a magician. I'm wondering if you guys would like to, I told them I work for free because the parents would see me, so I didn't care. But they told me that they're an all-Christian daycare and don't want magic. So that was kind of discouraging for some reason.
Maybe try a non-Christian one.
I didn't know it was all Christian. It does not say all Christian.
That's
daycare.
interesting, yeah. But like maybe some higher end, like where there would be maybe a target market where people are willing to pay $300.
There's also one slight problem with performing at daycares is that they take care of kids of all ages. And sometimes they're just like really, really like young, maybe 2 years old, that don't quite understand magic yet. The age that I found that can really understand is from like 4 and up, because they're just so young. They're everywhere at once. I mean, some of them, I'm not saying it's not possible for them to understand it. It's just very rare. So it's very hard to keep their attention to actually get them to understand what you're doing.
I'd just like to comment that along with these retirement communities that a couple of us have thought might be the right venue for you, as well as I think they'd be very profitable for you. And if you had a flat fee plus then ask for donations, I would imagine that might be one of the best ways to obviously be remunerated for your time. I'd also like to say that I was very impressed that you are so open with your history. And that means a lot, especially to the retirement community, as to if you would like to share that story as part and parcel of why you're where you are. That's very impressive, and I think you should capitalize on it. And I commend you for actually saying, thank you.
I know right now might not be the best timing for you, but here's a little something that you might want to take note of for the future. There is the National Speakers Association, which is a nationwide, and they actually have some international members. And there's a local chapter, if you want to call it local, in Philadelphia. And they are really excellent at helping you to refine your craft in terms of being in front of large audiences and entertaining them. So you might want to inquire with that, after you get through school or in your future. Other questions? I'm really glad some people are not shy.
Especially with your history, which is really nice that you're very open about it. Have you ever considered going to school assemblies and talking about that with other children?
I have thought about it. I don't know how to go about it, though. I remember when I was still enrolled in high school, I went to Woodbridge. I actually asked the principal if I could do that, and somehow that fell through. I don't know why or how, but yes, I have thought about it, but the means of doing it, that's a whole other field that I don't know about.
Thank you.
Have you ever thought of contacting the Freeman stage, because they do have, locals do entertainment?
That name sounds
It's
very
big, yeah, down in
familiar.
Selbyville, Fenwick area. We can put you in, I'm sure Keena can put you in contact with them.
okay.
Most of their events are in the summer, and I'm sure there's some in the fall as well, but they have a stage and they have local performers and, everything, and that would be a great venue for you, I think.
Okay, thank you.
We have someone that's connected with that organization as a member on our advisory board, so I'd be happy to help facilitate that. Okay, who else?
Going one?
Ah,
Oh.
This is still along the lines of the Freeman stage, is the Milton Theater. Have you ever, that's a great place with great entertainment from locals and other people.
I have heard of the Milton Theater. Yeah.
And there, I think, Rob Rector, the English department chairperson, would be a good person to contact.
Okay.
absolutely. And it reminded me, you saying that an earlier presenter, James Artis, he has MIH Talent, and he books talent into college venues to showcase them. So there's another connection that you might want to inquire with. Anyone else? So you've got an opportunity to get lots of questions and comments back here. That's the advantages of being the single speaker.
Back to what Samantha was saying about speaking in schools, I think that definitely is something you should check out, like contact some of the school districts. I used to teach middle school, and they would always have some type of an inspirational speaker or, something, and that is definitely, I think you could get something there, I really do. And I have, some connections with a couple of the local districts, so if you want, I can provide them to you.
Okay, thank you.
She's got a question.
This is the last one, I promise. How are you using social media for advertising yourself?
Repeat that again.
How are you using social media to advertise yourself? Like, are you using other platforms besides Facebook and YouTube?
Yes, I have Facebook, I have Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have YouTube. Yeah, it's just so much. I'm just trying to think, what else could I possibly have set up an account for? But Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are the four main things, because especially Instagram, really. I've been doing more of that and trying to do more Twitter, because I remember I made the Twitter account, then didn't use it, and I'm like, oh wait, everyone's on Twitter now, so let's figure out how to use this. And I found out the importance of a hashtag very quickly, or else no one will find any of my posts. So, yeah, the main ones I use are Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I do not Snapchat.
Hi. I was wondering, how do you promote yourself outside of social media? Like, if you wanted to simply introduce yourself to somebody in the industry or somewhere or a venue, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I recently did a show at the Sharptown American Legion to benefit what is known as the Heroes Haven, and we raised around $165 for them, which is going to buy a gun for one of the heroes. But other than just me benefiting that community, the people who came there are also hearing about me. So I do a lot of free shows. I've been looking at doing library shows, because I know they have like movie nights or something. I've been thinking about doing some like what is known as street magic here in Del Tech, like stopping someone like, hey, are you going to your next class? Well, let me show you a magic trick or something like that. Something that used to be really great to promote performers was doing street magic on the Ocean City Boardwalk, but unfortunately they passed a lot of different performance regulations, so that was one of my biggest promoting windows, but that was taken away.
Thank you.
Y'all are so chatty.
Hi, I don't know whether you've ever heard of Sussex County Woman, what would you call that? It's a newspaper magazine, and I don't see her here today. She's normally here, right?
Usually it's, if Barbara Steele is the representative, and she's often in the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you could get an interview with her, that would really help with your advertising. And also, getting back to what you were talking about, capitalizing on your history, I think like talking to kids at schools, high schools, is a really, really good idea. And you can take it from the standpoint that when kids get depressed and they think about suicide, they can't get it in their head that this is not going to be like this forever. And if you can find something that can interest you and distract you, it'll get you to that point where you will realize that you will come through. This is a temporary thing, and I think they don't think it's ever going to change. So I think you could really, really have an impact on a lot of people. I mean, you're showing that you were there, and this is what you did, and it is possible to get through it, and it takes time. So I think that would really be good.
Sometimes in approaching the schools too, a lot of times we have a tendency to ask for the principal as an example. You might want to try contacting and asking for a guidance counselor, which could be a gateway to the principal.
Or a parent-teacher type of organization, because there's a lot of us seniors and younger ones that are walking around with a lot of scabs and scars, that your story would be very, very impressive. Yeah, we all have a lot of scabs and scars, and I think it would be very, very beneficial to a lot of us if you would tell your story.
Anyone else? Very good, very good.
I'm very close with Seaford School District. I don't know if you know Miss Val Turner. You would probably know her. She's one of those faces you wouldn't forget. She does a lot with Children's and Families First. She actually works for State of Delaware now. I'm going to contact her. I'm going to give her your Facebook page, because she does a lot of after-school activities. And like everyone else is saying, hearing your story at your age to the same age group would mean so much, because there's a lot of kids out there that don't have anybody to go to. And to have someone stand up there and say, I've survived, look at me now, and you should be proud of yourself.
Before we ask you our final question, I just want to share with the audience that this week I happened to walk in the room at the same time that Delmarva Life was on, and I look up and I do a double take, and they were airing Kim. She apparently was taped earlier in the month. They showed it once, and she said nobody seemed to see it. Well, guess what? They showed it again, and I saw it. I would imagine that in the near future they will post that so that way you can access it as well. So Kim Z Magic, hopefully we'll get to see you on the screen one more time, and check YouTube, and perhaps you'll be able to see it. I have a feeling, I don't know this for a fact, but when I went to the WBOC, Delmarva Life, and it had a section on clips, and it was showing some of the prior segments. I have a feeling there's probably a lag time from the last time they air it to the time they post it, which looked to be about a week, maybe 10 days. So that might be another way that we can get to see you on television.
Yes, find the YouTube for them so they can know which one it is, because I have two of them.
Okay, while she is doing that, she was being a little bit modest, so she shared us a lot of her adventures, but what she didn't tell you is that she did receive first place in the senior stage competition at a renowned summer camp, Tannen's Magic Camp. Presenting her award was TV celebrity Michael Carbonaro from the hit True TV show, The Carbonaro Effect. So we're really tickled for the progress that you've made and compliment you very much. So as we wind up your presentation, could you please tell us, Kim, what can we do as a community to help support you?
Well, it's not just to help support me. Please help support your local performers, because performing art is, and especially magic, is sort of a dying art, because now we have YouTube. So if ever you see, like, in the newspaper or in some form of advertisement, and yes, even if it's on here, that there's going to be some live performance somewhere by someone, please go support them. And if they're asking for donations, give them $1 or something, because every little bit helps, and you don't know how much it does help.